When Chai Met Toast. Welcome to Australian Musician.
Thank you so much, Greg.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Super glad to be here.
Yeah. The first thing I have to ask you, I'm curious about the band's name. Where did that come from?
You know, it's difficult for everybody to put a band name, I feel. And this just fell through and we've stuck on with it for a while. People keep asking why. We don't know, to be very, very honest. It just came up when we were discussing band names and we thought this would stuck by. But now we've got an answer to it, which we've struggled to come through with. Basically, what we say or what we think that we tell people is the mix of what we do. That is who we are as people from India. That's Chai. And what we do is Western music. That's Toast. So it's basically Chai Met Toast.
Okay.
It's mostly that. It's four brown boys playing English music together. So
that all makes sense.
Yeah.
I believe you met around the Kerala area of southern India.
Yes.
Tell me about the music that is made around that area.
So India is largely a regional Bollywood music-driven, industry. In Kerala, there is a separate movie industry which, produces around, 50 to 100 movies a year. So a large chunk of music that comes from Kerala is film music. But there are a handful of bands that mostly create music in Malayalam. I think we are the only band or among the only bands in Kerala who create English music, or predominantly English music.
Yeah. So did you all have similar tastes, similar musical tastes growing up?
No. So me, Ashwin and Pai Sailesh, we back in college days we were playing in a metal band, like 3 different bands actually. Then I think finally 2015 by December we finally had a jam together. That's how we formed the band.
I think that's the only time we used to listen to some kind of music that was very similar.
Yeah.
Now it's just us fighting over what is better and what is not. So it's all four of us have different tastes in music, and it's very visible in the compositions that we make. It's something that I think we are all very proud of, let's say, because for each there's another one to fill the gap, and it kind of comes through really well for us, and that's what we've been doing for past 8 years.
I guess because you have a banjo in the band, you've been described as the Indian Mumford and Sons. How does that sit with you guys? Are you happy with that comparison?
I think it's evolved slightly. So in the first EP, that's where the banjo was more predominant. First couple of EPs actually that we released. So then, there was a natural comparison. I think it helped us in some ways because it associated some people to the sound of the band. And I mean, we weren't averse to that comparison. Over the last couple of years, we've also been sort of compared to being the Coldplay of India. So it's sort of like the sound has evolved from, what we were back in the day.
Yeah. So what kind of venues do you generally play around India? Is it indoor clubs or outdoor festivals?
So in India, we are fortunate to be playing a lot of big festivals at this point. We recently completed a tour which saw over 12,000 people across 8 cities. So it was our biggest tour to date. So large open air venues were the bulk of the shows. Abroad, when we do shows internationally, we've been playing clubs. So from around 300 to 600 capacity clubs. We recently played New York, London. We sold out New York and London. So we're excited to come to Australia finally.
Yeah. When Australian bands play overseas, there's always a lot of Australians in the audience. Is that also the same for you? You have a lot of Indians in your audience overseas?
For sure. I mean, 90 to 95% of our crowd, our demographic is completely Indians. And in a way, they're people who followed us back in the day when we started the band, and they've moved out to different countries, and they kind of joined back, and it's nostalgia for them seeing us because they've seen us in college. And it's in a way, it's very nice to see people come back for our shows. But at the same time, I think there's that 5% who's listening to us for the first time, who's completely from abroad, and people who are from a different territory, and they also come back, which is great to see as well. So I think we're doing a good job playing to 95% of Indians and 5% of the others.
So what would you consider to be some of the band's highlights to date?
We played Lollapalooza India. Sorry, just we can all name one. I think we played Lollapalooza India one this year.
My personal highlight from the something that happened to the band is playing the Singapore Grand Prix. And 2022, we played the F1 Grand Prix in Singapore.
Boys, please. Rest of it. There's so many.
Mine will be the first festival that we played, and it's on Weekender.
That's okay.
Me, it's just about being able to take our music international. Like the last 2 years, we did 2 UK tours, 1 US tour. Just being able to like play original music internationally is a privilege, and it's great that we're able to do that.
As far as I can see, the current single seems to be "Take Me Home," a collaboration with another artist, Farhan. How did that track come together?
So Farhan is a popular Bollywood figure in the Indian industry. So he had actually approached us 4-5 years ago to use one of our tracks for a film that he was doing. He was also following us before that. He had heard some of our songs before, and I mean, there was always a mutual admiration for each other's works. So he sort of reached out when he had this song that he felt that it would be good to have a When Chai Met Toast flavor to it. So he wanted us to produce it. So the song was completely written by him. We just assisted in producing it. So I think even though that shows up as the current single on Spotify, the latest song is actually a song called Maze Mein, which we did for a Bollywood movie, which is our first feature film debut in the movie industry in India.
So where are you at with the next recording? Are you working towards another EP or an album?
Yeah,
we still don't know.
Yeah,
we still don't
still
know.
figuring out, and we are still writing new songs. Hopefully by end of this year, or like after July, September, hopefully we might release.
Hopefully we have a good bunch of songs that we can put it into an album, because we'd like to release an album. But then depends on how the songs come through and how we write, and we're trying to take breaks in between our gigs so that we can write. So that's also happening. So yeah, it's in the works, and we hope we should be delivering something by end of the year or something.
Yeah. So what's the process with a song for the band? Does one or two of you usually bring an idea to the band, or do you all contribute at the start?
There's nothing like a process for doing it. It might be sometimes like when we go for sound check, we format jam and we get some ideas and we record that in our phone as voice memos. Then we bring that to the studio and work on it. Some songs.
Inspiration can come from anywhere, right? So we just have voice notes, and then now we are at a point where the four of us, most of the time we are on the same page of what we like. So we just, whenever we sit in the studio, we listen to whatever voice notes we have, we see what's worth developing. And sometimes the songs don't see the light as any artist. But yeah, I think, all four of it's a team effort for sure.
Yeah, for an example, yesterday, not yesterday, sorry, 2 days back, we were playing in Dubai, and that venue had a separate room where it was treated, and they had a piano inside, and they had some
More like a
instruments kept
practice
in.
room.
Yeah, more
More
like a
like a
practice room. And we were sitting there for around half an hour, 45 minutes before the show, and Pally just went and sat on the piano and they were fiddling around. And Achyuth was also there, and Ashwin and myself were outside, and suddenly Achyuth comes out and says Pally has gotten a very nice idea, and we've jammed then and there, and we've recorded couple of ideas as voice notes. So basically, voice notes helps a lot in that way. You just press record and have that idea kept in marked, and like probably after this Australia tour or whenever we would sit at the studio and develop that idea if it's like worth if we feel that it's worth developing.
Mostly more than a process, it's voice memos.
Yeah.
Does one of you specialize in lyrics, or do you all contribute?
We all
Achyuth and
do. Mostly me and Achyuth sit through it and finesse it, but we put it through Pai and Pally so that we know what's going on with people, because Pally has his own opinions about what lyrics are, and if Pally starts laughing, we make sure we change the lyrics to something else. So yeah, it's mostly that.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the gear that you use. We'll start with you, Achyuth. Guitar and banjo. What kind of instruments do you use on stage?
So we use Martin guitars, a Fender electric guitar, Fender Strat. Pai uses Zildjian K Customs, is that right?
So so my drum setup
I
is
think
basically more of a hybrid. Sorry, Ashwin.
Each one can say their own.
Oh yeah, cool. So
Yeah.
I'll finish mine. So I use a D-ring banjo, the two Martins and the Fender Strat. Yeah.
And Pai, you?
Yeah, and my drum set, I would say like everyone's setup has evolved in these years, and I'm at a point now where my setup is hybrid. I have a electronic drum pad which opens a lot of opportunities for me to have a lot of hybrid sounds. So that's kind of my setup now. I play Zildjian cymbals. I'm a big fan of dry, low sustain cymbals, and yeah, that's how my kit comes about. And we carry these instruments for every show, so that the best thing is that you
Shouldn't you
can have that same album sound on the live shows as well.
Shouldn't you be talking about your snare as well? No.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a Mapex Black Panther, which also I carry for live shows.
Drummers always love to talk about their snares.
Yeah.
So, Ashwin, Ashwin, do you play an instrument, or do you favor a
Yeah, I borrow Achyuth's Martin once in a while, and his Fender Strat as well, Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
but
you
then
see,
I kind of take around my instrument everywhere I go, so that's something that I do.
Yeah. Is there a particular microphone that you like to use?
An SM58 beta is what we use now, and a wireless. Hopefully, if I can get one, that's the best for me. I feel that gives my best.
Yeah.
Pally?
Palee?
Yeah, my setup is like pretty simple. An Electro 6D Node keyboard and a ukulele. We used to carry charango a while, but while traveling it got broken. So now just ukulele and keyboard.
Okay. So what can we expect from the Australian tour? How far back into your...
just adding on, yeah, we get to this. I just want to add something. So if you see our gig, you can actually see all of us play different instruments. Like there's a lot of setup changes. So Pai plays the guitar at some point. We're all sort of multi-instrumentalists that way. So we share each other's instruments at some point in the gig. Yeah, but yeah, coming to what you can expect from the Australia tour. Ashwin, you want to take that?
Yeah, I'd like to put it this way. I mean, once you come for our gig, you can feel a gleaming ray of hope, a lot of happiness, and at the same time, you can go back with a glee in your face. I think that's something that you can expect from our gig on a personal note. But other than that, on a set list point and everything else, I think Achyuth, Pally, and Pai could take that.
Yeah. I have to ask, being Australian, are you cricket fans?
Yes, a little bit,
A little
Not
not
as
too
much as
much,
the rest of India.
not as much as the rest of
Yeah.
India, but a little bit.
Yeah, it's
We
funny.
do watch World Cups and T20s and IPLs and all of that, but not on a larger scale basis. But yeah.
It's funny. I've interviewed other Indian musicians, and they're not so much into cricket as well.
Oh, I think Indian independent musicians and musicians don't watch cricket probably. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's the grand plan for When Chai Met Toast?
We are still figuring, let's say, even after 8.5 years, there's a lot of things that we're still figuring out. Like now that you asked, yesterday we had a whole different conversation about what we want to do and what we're going to do and what we're looking forward to doing. So definitely release more music for sure, but we're looking out for a different set of content plan, and we're looking to put ourselves out there more, travel a lot more internationally, play more gigs, get that done, and also at the same time probably like tour India once a year, and let's see how that goes across as well. But there's a lot more ideas and what do you call it, thinking that's been going around inside the band to do what we want to do, and we're just slowly getting there. We've got more people joining the band as well, not in terms of musicians, but as a team who is working behind the scenes and getting things done. So that's also something that we're working around. Yeah, that's mostly it. But definitely play Glastonbury, play Coachella, play a lot of big festivals, and at the same time, if possible, like play an O2 towards the end of 2 years. Let's say
Yeah.
that's dream and visions, but let's see.
All right, guys, it's been great to chat, and we look forward to seeing you in Australia very soon.